Good morning, everyone. Broadcast 2 from Cyprus. It's really early, I get that, for me as well. I still look a bit sleepy. And also I still have this cold, the relocation plague, as my friend calls it. So if I start coughing, that's because I'm still not really fit. So I'll try to be a bit more sparkly, but I'm tired and I've been trying to embrace it, to just accept that with changes like this it takes a lot of energy. So it's okay. It's okay that I don't feel my regular high vibe self. So today I want to talk about finding validation in past successes. So often, of course, when we talk about validation, we think about external validation. So we think about, we write, and when are we validated? So we are validated, for example, when an agent wants to represent us. We are validated when a publishing house wants to publish our books. We are validated if we're self-publishing. We are validated if we get enough reviews, 5-star reviews preferably. So validation, when we think about validation, we often think about it in external terms. And there's also a bit of critique on that, because if you constantly go for external validation, it becomes really difficult to keep that fire burning, to keep doing what you wanted to do. If it all depends on other people telling you whether you did good, instead of you being able yourself to say whether or not you're doing something that's worth doing, it becomes very difficult to keep your focus straight and just go there, because you are looking for like a positive energy from factors that you cannot really influence. And that's a tricky thing. And of course, I'm not saying that wanting external validation is a bad thing, because I'll admit right away, like every time I receive beta reads from our beta readers, it's a relief that we're doing something right. So I have it too. It's just that my point is that it shouldn't be the only thing that's keeping you going. And that is why I wanted to talk about more internal validation. And one of the ways some of the things I've been practicing in the past few years, but I'm actually, it's been a process and I'm getting better at it, and I still stumble, as I will explain a little bit. If you constantly look back at where you've been and where you are now, that is a great way to find validation for your process. So when we talk about comparisonitis, for example, you constantly compare yourself to how others are doing. The tricky thing is that you kind of get lost about where you are and what you are doing. While the idea is that if you look at your own process and just reflect on what you've done and where you've been, that can be that can give you a lot of energy. That can really keep that fire burning, because you realize, oh, wait a minute, 12 months ago, this day, I was here and now I'm here. So maybe you've finished the first draft of a novel. Maybe you've published 2 books in the meantime. Yes, other people might have done more. They might have had more sales. But how about you? Like if you had 100 sales per month this time around last year, and you have 200 now, that is still progress. Of course, no, it's not. You're still not making 50K, but you are still developing, you're still growing. And I think it's very tricky to only look at what other people are doing and comparing yourself to them, and not looking at what you are doing yourself. So if you leave out everything else, like if you push all that to the side and just focus on, okay, where was I? Where am I now? Where am I going? Am I still having fun? Not an unimportant question. How does that make you feel? And the reason I wanted to bring specifically up how you can find validation in past successes is that it's very easy, especially in today's age when like everybody's success is all over the internet. And in that, it becomes very hard sometimes. I mean, I have the same struggle, because your own little milestones can they don't become unimportant, but they can look very unimportant, because you might have finished that first draft, but this author friend of you just published their third book in 4 months. So you finishing that first draft finally, how is that a celebration? But it is a celebration, because compared to where you were before you started that first draft, you now have a finished first draft, and that is worth celebrating. So when you look back at your own past successes, you will learn a lot of things about yourself. The first thing you learn is you acknowledge that you've had successes, and maybe it will help you reminisce how that feels. Like, how did it feel to write the end? How did it feel to get that short story published? How did it feel to get that really great beta read comment from one of your friends? Like, how did that feel? If we don't sit with that, if we don't sometimes, look back at those little moments and remember what that was like, what are we doing it for? It becomes so, the process can become so stressful if you forget, all right, somewhere, like, there are little milestones along the way that are worth celebrating and that are worth reflecting on, and that will give you that boost of energy to keep going. If you're only looking at, this is where I want to be. So let's say the goal is J.K. Rowling, Scotland, Castle. If you forget that there are little things on the way that you need to celebrate as well, it becomes very difficult to keep going. Like, can you imagine what would have happened to J.K. Rowling if when she first thought of that idea? Like, what was it? Wasn't she sitting in the train or something when the story for Harry Potter came to her? Just imagine what would have been if she sat in the train, that story came to her, and she thought, well, this story is going to buy me a huge castle in Scotland, and that is the goal. If from that day onwards she'd only looked at that, and if she wouldn't have counted her successes in between, celebrated the milestones in between, do you think she would have enjoyed the journey? That was the word I was looking for. I was thinking, because that's the thing, is like, it's about the journey, it's not about the destination. Of course, one of the things is you need to know where you're going, because if you don't know where you're going, or if you don't have, you don't need to think Castle, Scotland, that's the only goal. No, but you need to know where do you see yourself in 10 years, like, as a writer, where do you see yourself? I think that's very important. But in the meantime, it's also important to see what happens in between. Because if you're only focused on that and you just, rush through everything else, that's kind of, I'm assuming, and sooner or later that would cause burnout or something, and would stop you having fun in the entire process. And I think one of the reasons why we write is because it gives us a sense of freedom and a sense of fun, and it's very fulfilling. But can it be fulfilling if you only look at what other people are doing, if you only look at the end game and not at all the little things in between, and don't stop to celebrate that? Will it be as worthy, valuable to get to that point if you only look at that? So another thing I wanted to talk about in relation to this is that something that I've been feeling a lot this past week, and that I know some of my clients are going through now as well, is the idea that you cannot do it. And that is, there is this meme, I'll see if I can look it up. It's this picture of someone sort of like digging this underground pathway. And of course we can see in the picture that there is like they're almost there, like there's only so much they have to still go through, and then they found the way out, but they give up. And they sometimes say that just right before you get there, that's when it becomes the hardest. That's when you have the most resistance. Right before success is about to hit, or right before you hit that milestone, that is when it becomes the hardest. So one of the other reasons I would suggest that you sit and look at all the things you did achieve is to remind yourself of everything that you're capable of. As I said, like my client emailed me yesterday saying that she's been doing well for a really long time, but it's one of my clients in my 3-month one-on-one coaching writing program, and the program is coming to an end, and now she's struggling with, can I really do it? Can I really pull this off? Can I finish this novel? And of course that's interesting because we're at the end of a process, and soon she'll have to do it by herself again. And then the doubt comes in, the fear comes in. But one of the things that's part of my writing program is that every week you keep track of what you've been doing. And it's so great to see in her emails, because we do an email check-in as well, next to the one-on-one, face-to-face coaching, online face-to-face coaching. Obviously, she's not anywhere in my area. Even though she sometimes starts emails out by saying, I feel like I didn't do anything, when she looks at the stuff she did do, like when she looks at what she's been tracking, she realizes, I did more this week than I thought I did. And that every time gives her that feeling, okay, so maybe I can do this. So this is one of the reasons why I use this tracking. In my writing program and in my new program that I will launch next Sunday, when it's my company's 5th birthday anniversary, and I'm having this great giveaway, all kinds of stuff we're giving away, and huge discounts on stuff that I offer, stuff that my friends offer. So it's going to be great. I'll drop the link. As well. So you should really join us. It's going to be fun. It's going to be live videos all day, and we're going to have one big celebration. But yeah, it's one of the key components of the new program that I'm going to offer, because it's so important to just look back, sit with it like every week. Okay, so what did I say I was going to do? What did I actually do? And you'll find that once you start doing that, that will give you that little boost to say, okay, you know what? I can keep going. This is worth it. I can actually do this. So that would be for me like another reason. And to make it a little bit more personal, not necessarily writing related, although I would say you all know that I'm slightly spiritual, so everything is related to me. I can see the bigger picture everywhere. But this past week has been really, really hard for me, which is probably one of the reasons why I look so dead tired as I'm looking at myself in my camera, at the video. Because I got stuck in this worry spin, and I was so afraid of not being, I was thinking, what am I doing here? I know that I wanted to do this move and I wanted to be there. I knew there was something here. I know, and there's the spirituality coming in, I know there's something here that I need to do. But I didn't have the answer last week. I didn't know why I was here, and I got caught in a worry spin. I wasn't sleeping. And because I wasn't sleeping, I got worried that I would, that my mind would just spin out of control. So I which interfered with the little sleep that I did have. And I just knew I had to snap out of it at some point. And I snapped out of it because I sat down and looked at where I've come in the past 5 years or so, when I started my company. And it just made me realize, oh wait, this is a new thing indeed. And that's one of the things, it's one of the reasons why you have to look at your past successes. Not just so that you know what you can do, but also that you are reminded again that all these things, when you did them for the first time, you actually succeeded. And sometimes maybe you failed, but then you tried again, and at one point you succeeded. So there is never, new things are always a bit scary. But that it's new doesn't mean that you will fail, because look at what you've done in the meantime. So many things we do are new. And I was stuck in that. I was stuck in the whole, I've never done this before. I've never had to do this by myself. Why do I think I can do this? Here I am on an island. I don't really know anyone. Why did I think this was a good idea? And of course, you understand that when you get caught up in this worry, in this sort of like your negative thoughts spinning and spinning and spinning, you're not gonna get anything done. So I was also beating myself up for not really writing, which is classic for me. Like when I'm down, I'd love to kick myself even harder. But yeah, I got out of it, but I realized, okay, so what are all the new things that I did in the past, say, 1.5 years? And were they scary? Yes. How am I feeling about them now? Pretty amazing. Like I remember when I started my 3-month program, that was terrifying. Oh God, I don't even know. Like before I launched that, I hired a business coach. Kelly, I've talked about her before. She's brilliant. And she was like, you just let fear keep yourself back. So stop doing that. Just like she's very just you know what you want to do, go. So I did, but it was terrifying. It was terrifying, like having those first conversations with my clients, and then adapting as we went along, because of course all my clients have different needs, they have different struggles. So it's not a one-size-fits-all program. Like I had to do research and I had to look things up for them, and I had to adapt their worksheets according to what they needed at the time. And we were sitting, like I was driving, when was it? It was yesterday actually. I was driving because my brother is here, he's visiting to help me like look for houses and stuff. And I was driving and I was just commenting on the fact that I was so surprised that that the driving was going this well. And I'm saying this because they drive on the left side of the road here, and I'm not used to that. So that was also a terrifying new thing. And everybody told me, yeah, you're going to be fine. It's going to take you like 1.5 days, and then you're good. And it's true. Yeah, and I'm very comfortable in my car, and I don't even like, yesterday we saw a car, and the car was driving in the middle of the road, and it looked as if they wanted to pass me on the left side, and everything we said that's wrong. And I was like, oh, that's interesting, because that would be the way, that's how I'm used to drive. So it's taken me a week, and I'm already thinking, you're doing something wrong here, like you need to be over at the other side. So the thing is, like, all over the place, classy me. But I'll get back to it. The thing is that we were driving, so I was commenting on the fact that how, like in hindsight, how easy the process has been. And of course, one of the reasons he was also here is because now I have to drive half an hour every day to pick him up where he's staying, because he's not staying in my area, and I'm curious whether he did that on purpose. But yeah, it's like I've been in the car so much that of course now it's like, doesn't bother me anymore. Like I don't even get nervous anymore. But he commented, he said, so I said that, I said, I'm surprised by how fast I've become so relaxed just driving around here. And he said, well, you know, that's why I believe you can do stuff like this, is because you're so adaptable. And I was like, adaptable? Me? You think I'm adaptable? And then he was like, so he started listing things. And that's when I started thinking, oh, of course, but that's like one of the things I do in my writing program. I have to be adaptable, because nobody has the same desires, wants, needs, problems, struggles, writer's blocks. Each and every one of my clients is going through something else, and I need to give them something else in return. Like I have to find out a way to help each person, and every person is different. So hearing that from him and then connecting that to the work I'm doing, and of course it's the same with editing, like every book needs something else. One book will have major POV, point of view issues. Another book, it might be the language use, or the voice might not be consistent. It's all about being adaptable, because nothing, like I work with people, and people are all individuals, so they all need something else. But it wasn't until he said that I was like, oh, right. And that is, of course, one of my strengths. Like, I am very adaptable. And that made me realize, okay, so when I look back at that, now I can see why everyone around me has absolute faith that I'm going to be fine. Like that me moving to another country, nobody was worried except me. And now I understand, because that's what they see. They see me as this person who's adaptable, who goes with the flow. And if plan B isn't working, I'll have or if plan A isn't working, I'll have a plan B. I'll even have a plan C. Like, I'll be fine. But because I don't, I do that now, but I didn't used to sit down with myself and have that conversation and look at where I've been, where I'm now, where I want to be. That's why I didn't actually see myself like that. Do you get what I mean? It's like, if you don't sit with that, if you don't reflect on that, you can keep telling yourselves the same stories over and over again about how you function. It doesn't mean that's actually a reflection of what you're really doing. So yeah, I think one of the reasons why I got out of the worry spin is because I started reflecting on what I've achieved, and especially the past 18 months. And how scary it all was and how amazing it all was. I remember the first time I did one of those videos. I remember one of my friends commenting, saying, oh, you look really nervous. I was like, yeah, but you don't get good at something if you don't do it. And I still did it. I still did it, even though it scares me. And I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything about Facebook or lives or whether people were going to watch. Now I have my YouTube channel and I'm completely comfortable sitting in front of a camera and just talking. And if I look back a year before I started my live videos, that was the first time I was on a podcast, and that terrified me because people were going to hear my voice and hear me talk about topics, and who was I? What do I know? But now I'm super comfortable with that. I don't even so during the birthday party, I'm inviting everyone who's there's a lot of my colleagues, friends, people I know in the writing world are offering sponsoring stuff for my birthday party, which is amazing. And I'm just gonna have live videos all day. And half a year ago, that would have terrified me. And now I'm just like, yeah, let's just do this. It's gonna be fun. And I know it's gonna be fun. So yeah, it's all about sitting with everything you've already done and realizing, maybe also reflecting on how scary that was and the feeling you got after it. Just to remind yourself constantly that it's worth it. You're doing this, you are growing, it is worth it. And maybe you are not there yet. Maybe you have this goal inside and you are not there yet. But that doesn't mean you are not on the way. It doesn't mean you're not doing the journey. That's what I wanted to share with you today. And I'll hopefully see you all on Sunday. And if not, I'll see you on Monday. Okay. Have a great week.